And Ray Ferraro. The dumbest segment we do every year on the Free Agent Frenzy and also trade deadline would be winners and losers because, of course, winners and losers are declared at the end of the regular season and the playoffs, not in the middle of July. But it's what we do. We're just talking about day one of free agency. So I want a winner and a loser, individual or team, from each one of you. Dave Poulin, let's start positive. Your winner.
Seattle Kraken right out of the gate. So I like the way they built their decor in the expansion draft. But today they signed a free agent blue chipper in Jaden Schwartz. They signed a guy with a nice upside in Alexander Venberg. And the surprise of it all, they got a true number one goalie and in Philip Grubauer. And so now they've got another goalie asset from the expansion draft to trade. I like what's going on in Seattle.
I'm going to go with the Vancouver Canucks, James. It seems like people, much like Toronto, they like to be unhappy about something in Vancouver. But I just think, and Jimmy Bennings talked about it, how they're a couple years away, or he thinks that. I just think there's a real opportunity for them to take a step. Pettersson is obviously a big deal up the middle of the ice. He's got to come back healthy. But to add Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and people are already complaining about how much money he makes. He hasn't even played a game yet. I just think he's a real star defenseman out there, and they're going to love what they get in him. He can help with Quinn Hughes at the back end. I just think there's real positives. Even Garland up front.
He's a good player.
He is a real good player that they've added there. Good job by my guy, Jimmy Benning, and I'm looking forward to what's going to go on for Vancouver next year.
Ray Ferraro, a winner from you.
I'm going to give you two quick ones. Dougie Hamilton, because he just signed for $63 million, and that's a lot of money. Good for him. But I'm also going to pick the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets had a deficit on the blue line. They had holes to fill, and they went out and filled them with Brendan Dillon, who they brought in one trade, and then Nate Schmidt, who they brought in for a third rounder from Vancouver. So they had the defense, they had size, they had stability to their back end, and then they re-signed Paul Stastny. I think it's a really good free agent start for the Winnipeg Jets.
And again, I will qualify the loser category by, we all hope you prove us wrong. It's just a one-day thing, losers.
Yeah, Carolina, Nadelkovich, a good young goaltender, and this happened before, obviously, today, and they lose him to Detroit and then don't sign Bernier that they get back, but then losing Dougie Hamilton. They let him go out and test the market because they were, I believe they were confident that he would come back and say, okay, I looked at the market, it didn't have what I wanted, I want to be a Carolina Hurricane. That didn't happen. They lost to a good hockey player.
Oh,
I'm going to go with Jack Eichel. You think of the great American hockey player, and he's a fantastic talent. You just think of the great American markets, whether it be the New York Rangers, the Boston Bruins, even Minnesota. He would go to a different environment, and there'd be a real positive outlook for him, for Jack Eichel to go somewhere different. It's been a real struggle for him and the Buffalo Sabres the last several years. It's been a black hole in the NHL playing in that organization. So for him, he's walking away from today saying, I'm still a part of this, and I don't want to be, and where am I going? So he's a loser.
Although that could change within hours, within days, and he could get a destination he loves for Jack Eichel. Ray Ferraro, loser.
Well, I feel the same way with my choice, which is the Colorado Avalanche. And because as of right now, they've got a really nice team, a really good young defense, one of the best players in the game in Nate McKinnon, and no goaltender. So they can't win without that. But I think that'll get solved somewhere down the road. But we're picking the loser of today. And so I say it's got to be the Avalanche. They couldn't go to the wall with Grubauer. They got stuck cap-wise. And while he had an unbelievable year last year, he's gone now, and they don't have a replacement as yet.
And there's going to be some GMs down the line here that are going to be losers on this day. We're talking about a crop. And Ray just mentioned Dougie Hamilton. He is a fantastic talent. But when he's the top guy of the crop, there was a lot of money handed out to guys that aren't like elite difference makers, but you got to bring somebody in. And we talked about the pressures of GMs trying to make a difference and promises made to fans, to ownership. So there's some GMs that are going to be losers not too far away, James, that are going to have to answer for some of this money.
The reality historically is that the majority of these deals, the majority will turn out to be losers over time, but it's the couple in there that somebody's going to hoist a Stanley Cup next year, maybe by signing somebody on this day, that make all the difference. And that's why they keep spending money on this day year after year